today's live stream is about how to create a smart contract and a DApp with NoCode and AI. This is because this is what we do, right? So my name is Silver Sepp. I'm a co-founder of Toolbox, and my background is software architect and basically IT and software for 20 years, as in commodities trading, e-commerce, public sector as well, and some banking. Now, today's agenda is that it's as follows. So we're going to check what is Toolbox briefly. We're going to do a live demo. And if anybody has some questions, we're going to also answer those. Right. So why are we doing what we're doing? Is because we believe that in a decade from now, all assets moving between businesses will be tokenized and transacted on blockchain. So we believe that everybody has ideas, and we are bringing the tools to make them happen, right? To actually tokenize assets on blockchain. Now, if we just briefly check what are the alternatives today. Now you can do custom development, right? So you can tokenize your assets with smart contracts and dApps by just programming. But it can be costly and also lengthy. There's teams, there's projects. I mean, you need specialized skills and so on. You can use templates as well. So this is a nice way to do it. But some templates still are complex, and also you have to be knowledgeable to set them up. You have to use outside help to actually set them up. And if you want to make a change to a smart contract template, you have to re-audit, which can be costly and difficult. So we are kind of reimagining this flow to tokenize assets on blockchain. And we aim to go from idea to launch and make it very simple. So we offer tools to go from idea to launch on blockchain. So those tools are the AI assistant, which we will actually demo, the no-code contract maker, which I'll also show today, and also, very importantly, a plugin for Bubble, where we can design anything you like as a DApp and then connect to your smart contracts. So basically, you have an idea of an asset you want to actually sell or kind of service or execute on blockchain, and you can launch in, we want to make it few hours that you would be able to actually launch your service. Now, if you take auditing as well in, so you need extra third parties to actually help you do that. But so it will increase that time. But for that, we have actually a marketplace as well, where people can quickly kind of audit or request audits, and also with a good kind of price as well. Now, so this is the contract maker, and this is what I will demo soon. Now, just briefly, our history. We started 2022, middle, where we started the development. We won several hackathons, including this Near hackathon and Polygon hackathon. And so we launched the subscriptions or the basic website that we have up and running today in late last year. Right now we have 800 registered users and close to over actually 1,500 smart contracts created. So these are some examples of the smart contracts. You can see that they're in totally different areas of life. So you have like contracts between people. You have procurement. You have also tracking of assets. You have IoT, different things. So you can manage various services on the platform. Right. So let's see. Let's delve in. So let's see first how this application behaves, and then we see how we did it actually, right? So you can imagine this is a very simple website here, just the background and the logo, and it's for my token. It's a pre-sale actually for a token I created. So this is how you actually use it. So you connect. So let's say I'm I'm a fan of my token. I want to buy my token. I want to participate in the pre-sale. So here, first of all, I need to deposit some Tara. So this example is deployed on Taraxa blockchain. This is our integration partner for this. Now, let's do it. So I deposit Tara, and I expect to get back my token when the pre-sale ends. So I'm now buying Tara. Sorry, I'm buying in Tara. So I'm depositing Tara into the application. Let's see how it's doing. All right. Okay, so I have now deposited Tara. So what I will do now is actually end the pre-sale, because we need to, in order to get back my tokens, we need to end the pre-sale. So I have here, let me see, where's my admin interface? Right, here it is. So what I will do now is in the administrator interface, I will need to end the pre-sale. So I have here a bunch of purchases from users. So I'm gonna end actually pre-sale. That's it. Nobody can buy any more tokens. So what I will need to also do here is deposit, or actually, so this is the tokens I will deposit into the contract and get back all the Tara that has been deposited by the users. So now the exchange will happen. So I will just let's say I put one token here. It will actually refund me all the leftovers if there's if it's more than the total amount of tokens that have been deposited. Right. Now let's execute the transaction to end the pre-sale. So here you can see live in action the administrative interface. This is what you get for free. Like if you make a smart contract in Toolbox, this is how it looks like. On the left-hand side here, you can see the kind of assets that you have in the under management in this contract. And here you can see also the workflow of that asset. So in this case, purchase number 7. So purchases are the assets. They can be either in pending after buy, and then they can be cashed out by the user. So, but only if the pre-sale has ended, right? Now, I have now finished or ended the pre-sale. Now, if you refresh this page, the customer will see something like this. So you log in. Okay, it says sale ended. And you can also see the balance of my token that he now has, and he can cash out by clicking here. So we are seeing in action the management interface and also the DApp that was built for the user, for the end user. And that's it. Now, if I look at my tokens, I will have actually the my token here. I won't go into through the trouble of actually importing it, but you know, I now have my tokens. So let's see how I created this. If I go back into the list of workflows, so this is Toolbox. It begins with a smart contract. So you need a smart contract, and then you can test it out, and then you can create a beautiful DApp. Let's create a new smart contract. So in order to do that, it begins with an AI prompt, really, right? So you can use a wizard as well if you don't like AI prompts, but right. So but let's create something different. So you saw already, and we will see in, already the workflow for this token pre-sale. Let's do something else. I'll do the logistics example because it's simple to understand. So create a workflow for logistics operation. I am shipping packages from warehouse to courier and then to customer. So just want to say here that you need to give the AI 3 things. First of all, you need to give the asset, what is the asset actually under that we are tokenizing right now? What is the asset? Secondly, what is the workflow? Like, what is the life cycle of that asset? And thirdly, who is doing what? Like, who actually can move, do all these operations? So let's see. Right. So this is what AI generated. Now you have to always check what AI generates because it's not perfect, of course. Right. So we have a package workflow. So we're tokenizing packages. They can be at warehouse. Each package can be with courier and then delivered. And here you can see this is the second phase, which is the contract maker. Now here you can use no code tools to actually make it better, right? So use AI to start and then use no code to make it better. So here, let's say I do, send back. So I don't like the package. I'm going to send it back to warehouse. Right? And also I will do so that only the end user, can actually send the package back. So I will say that access is restricted to the customer. And at each junction here, each method call, you can add, a bunch of capability. Like, what are the parameters for that method call? Is there any allowance? Are there any validation steps we need to do? Some conditionals, also calculated parameters, calling other flows, for example, and also, kind of importantly, payments as well. So right, so this is how you build up the workflow, and then when you go forward to deploy, if you're into code, here's the place to also check out the code. Everything matches up to your expectations and you're good to go. You deploy it to blockchain and then can use the management admin interface to create assets and test them out, right? So this is the flow to create smart contracts. Now, just briefly looking at this purchase workflow that we used for the DApp that we just saw. Well, it's a very simple one, right? So we have a buy here where we are going to pass in the price. I want to buy, basically, I want to deposit the native token, Tara in this case. Based on that, we're going to calculate would it be over hard cap of that pre-sale. Also, we're going to calculate what's the amount of tokens that the customer will receive when they will cash out. So that's the price times the rate here of that token to native token ratio, and also update the total amount because this will be needed to be deposited later on to finalize the pre-sale. Right? So amount plus total amount, and of course the payment. So the caller will actually deposit the native token, right, to the workflow itself. So it will be locked at that point. This money, nobody can actually use it at that point yet. So then when it's time, we can also enter pre-sale. Access is only restricted to pre-sale admin. And here we're going to check if it's not over soft cap, or sorry, it needs to be over soft cap. Then we do some calculations. So we're going to set, first of all, the finalized or finished to true. And then also we're going to set up a variable price to workflow balance. So the current balance of the workflow containing all of the deposits of the users, right? And so this money will actually go back to the pre-sale admin. We're going to pay out from the workflow to the pre-sale admin the price that we just here kind of set the variable. And secondly, remember that the admin, pre-sale admin, needs to deposit the tokens here, right? So because otherwise there's nothing to cash out for the users. So the pre-sale admin here, the caller, will actually deposit into the workflow the total amount in tokens, right? It's a little bit fuzzy because here the price is in one currency, the total amount is in another currency. Well, here, if you click here on the package here, the icon, you can set up all of the attributes or parameters and properties of the purchase. And here you can see that the price is indeed, it's just the native token, right, in money type. But if you look at the the total amount, it's also a money type, but it's in a different currency. And here you can basically set up the currency, uh, and the currency is just a variable as well. Not going into deep here, but just to show you that the currency is actually just a blockchain address, right? And the total amount is in that currency. Right, and then the final method of those three is that you can cash out as a buyer. You can now cash out your own deposit, basically. Uh, you know, it's actually in the amount, right? You can cash out the amount, and the amount, as you remember, if I go back to the buy, initially the amount was calculated based on the native token times the rate. So here in cash out, we're gonna actually send out that money, those tokens. And this is a very simple, basically pre-sale contract. Now, one thing to keep also in mind and check out is that the buyer is a whitelisted address. So this is separate type here. If you're adding properties here or for the asset, then you have address, right? So this is just any address, but whitelisted address means that and especially if you use it in the access restrictions, then it will actually error out if it's not a whitelisted address type. So that means that now if I now look at the flow here. So here I have all my purchases from the pre-sale, and here in the admin interface here, you can actually set those global variables up. Remember, one was a token. So here, that's the place you set up the token address. You can also set up the hard cap, the soft cap, the admin address, and a bunch of other things. And then you're off you go, right? That's how you set up the smart contract. So what we did now, we showed how to create a smart contract with AI, how to kind of edit it with no code, and how to also deploy it, how to look at the code, source code, and then how to operate, right? So here you can actually test it out. So this is a kind of like asset dashboard where you can add purchases like here, like this. So here I'm actually executing the buy, which was the first method in the life cycle of the purchase, and I can deposit Tara here and to get back the token in the end. Or you can just call these. For example, this purchase 6 hasn't been cashed out yet. So what I can do here is to call cash out. But of course, I don't have any rights to execute that because I was not the buyer of that specific purchase, right? Which is a tokenized asset in this case. So this is how you test it out here. So let's look at the beautiful thing, right? So remember our DApp here. The DApp was constructed using Bubble. Bubble is a basically no code application building framework, which is not built by us, of course, but we provide a plugin for it because it's a really good tool. It's very simple to understand. It's one of the most popular tools actually to create applications or web applications, I must say. And what we created here is that on the left hand side here, you see some of these toolbox titled kind of elements. You can drag and drop links and the images here. You can add tables. For example, if I want to add custom text here, I can just drag and drop and put like, this is my text. This is how you gotta build it up. Remember what I did here. Only thing I did in terms of like look and feel was I added this background here into the back, and also this logo here for my token, and then I need to add the blockchain integration. For this, there's two things you need. First of all, you need to connect button. And secondly, you need to add this here is a kind of a hidden element. You won't see it in the live version when you launch this application, but this is how you configure your connection to your workflow that you were just editing, right? Let's go back to the edit here. Now, so if you're in Bubble, when you're in Bubble, to begin actually this journey of like creating a DApp and connecting all of the dots and clicks and data here, first thing you need to do, go to plugins and add this toolbox plugin here. And for this, the only thing you need to set up is this API key that you will get from the application. And then also you need the Wallet Connect project ID. We have actually the academy.toolbox.net where you can check out step by step what you need to do, where you can actually get this thing. And the second thing you need to do here is, I think I did something wrong here. Okay. And the second thing you need to do actually is set up this API connector. This is a Bubble thing, but what you need to provide here is you need to say what is your asset here. In this case, it's a purchase, and you need to also set the URL to be your workflow URL. Like if I go here, look at the top, you can see this is the same key, pre-sale with whitelisting. This is the unique key for your solution. And here you need to just provide it. And if you do this one, then this tooling will light up. So basically, you will start to see familiar things everywhere. For example, here you can see that it will show deposited some number of data. But actually, you can see that what you can do here is say deposited, and then you choose the element that you dragged here. You see this one here. You choose that element, toolbox workflow, and then it kind of allows you to use these kind of variables. So in this case, it's current items, and then you see familiar things. Like, first of all, ID, status, buyer, amount. So these are the same as here. You see ID, status, the buyer, and the amount. So this all kind of appeared because we did this setup. So it will be very easy in the no-code setting to now kind of code, basically. So how does it all work? So you can see here, like if my pre-sale is ongoing, then we will see actually this element. And if the pre-sale is ended, then we will see this element. So how this was accomplished was that there's a condition here and that group of elements saying that the toolbox workflow JSON property needs to be false. And in this case, the JSON property needs to be true. So what is that JSON property? Now, if we go to that workflow tab here, second tab here, so these are events here. Here you can kind of like design the workflow of that application. So for example, we see that when the Wallet Connect is connected, what will happen is that we will actually execute a method called getFinished on our smart contract. So you just need to provide the here the element. Of course, that's the the same, always the same element. Basically, that's the element we set up. And you need to fill these parameters if you want to kind of get something from blockchain. In this case, it doesn't have any parameters. It's just getFinished, which returns true or false. So that's a way to get the global variables from our smart contract. Because remember, some of these variables are set to global, which means they actually appear in the configuration section or the admin section. So here's a way to get this information. And the second thing it does here is actually tries to get the get the purchase of that user. So it is calling the method get item by buyer, and then providing as a parameter the the wallet connects wallet address property. So this works because what we did here is that we said that the buyer needs to be unique. So this actually gave the smart contract this lookup method get item by buyer. And this is what we use here. I mean, if you're not setting this to unique, then you just need to use a different method. You need to use the get item, and then you need to provide an ID. But in this case, we were able to kind of use this get item by buyer by providing the wallet address instead. So you get back item. And what you can do with this item is that here we saw already in this string, for example, we see this current item. So the workflow's current item. So the current item is the one which is populated after you do the get item, after you call the get item method in the workflow. So these are some of these pieces. Probably I won't go through all of these examples here, all of these properties here, but this is how you easily code and applications. This was done in half an hour or something like that. Of course, I know this platform, but there is not much things that can go wrong. It's very straightforward actually. Use if you use it once. So, for example, the current item is used everywhere here, and the other property to use is actually item list. So we have an example in the Bubble marketplace. We have actually several examples there, templates that you can download and just check out how it's done. So we have examples where we have where we load a list of assets, where we have a paging, where we're actually uploading items to blockchain, like for example images to IPFS, and of course all of these examples will have executing transactions. So executing transactions means that when you click on this buy in Tara, for example, then let's see what happens with this click. So we're gonna click edit workflow. So only one thing happens. I mean, if you're a good developer, then the first step here probably should be show spinner, right? Because we want to see some kind of spinner going on, or some message popping up, or maybe the button going to disable state. But in this case, in this demo, we're just gonna execute the blockchain transaction. So how does it look like? Well, so basically, you come here, you click here to add an action, and out of the element actions, you have these options here, these 5 options. So this is the toolbox workflow, and you have these 5 options. You can execute the transaction. This actually changes stuff on blockchain. You can load latest items. This gives you back a list of items. You can load one item based on ID. You can view. This was the one that I used to get the configuration variable. And you can load a page. So this is for paging purposes. Now, this is now the execute. So the execute takes in the transition name. So the transition name pretty much is the same thing as here. So end presale will be end presale. Just type the transition name. This leave as is. Basically, what will happen is that it will call this transition or a method, and then it will actually call also get the item in the background to update your item. And that gives it more like interactive kind of nature. You click something happens, it loads new information. So basically, after executing this buy, it will also update the item. Now, remember, if I click on buy, it accepts one parameter. And this is the parameter here. Parameter 1 will be the text box value converted to number times 18 digits, basically. Well, because this is the digits that the native token has. Now, this Tara amount text box, just briefly, this is that one, right? So you can see this is the Tara amount text box. Let's go back to the workflow. So the Tara amount text boxes value converted to number times 18. And also the second thing is, because we're dealing with something where we are depositing the native token, we also need to fill the payment part, which is the same. It's the Tara amounts text boxes value converted to number. So we are depositing this amount and also adding it as the parameter here. Right. So, and I guess in general, I think this is it. So what we did here was that we created a smart contract. Actually, I didn't show one step before. So you have a smart contract, right? That actually organizes the pre-sale, right? But where's the token? Where's my token? Well, actually, it is here. Let me just. I think I need to open the admin interface first. Just a second. Right. Okay. Sorry. So it's here. It's this one, my token. Now, if you click on it, you can see. Here you can set up the token, you can deploy the token, and on the right hand side here, you can just kind of manage your token. So we can see here all of the current balances. These are my test accounts for this whitelisting pre-sale. Pre-sale. And so I own most of these tokens myself here as a test account, test user. And I can also send the token around just for testing purposes, maybe, or maybe not. And that's it. So to actually create the token, what you will do is come here and click new and token. And after you create the token, you're free to use it in any workflow to actually move the token around to some kind of pre-sales or some kind of exchanges, whatever you want to do with that token. So and one more trick I will show, or maybe I'll not show, but say that you can also use. We have a ChatGPT GPT plugin, not plugin, but GPT basically, and you can say to that GPT that create me a token and also a pre-sale contract. So it will actually call Toolbox 2 times. It will call it once to create the token, and then call it second time to create a smart contract to create a pre-sale contract, pretty much. And so it's a kind of, it does more, let's say, because this chat GPT has this functionality to do many different things at once. Right. So I think that's it. So I see some questions here. Right. So if I take a simple meme token, will the contract be audited? Yes. So if you just want to create a meme token, you can see here, even this one, right? My token. So if you view the code here, actually I will. Yeah. So if you view the code here, you can see that it has one template, which is the Open Zeppelin ERC20. So that's the latest Open Zeppelin ERC20 template here, which is used, and this is audited contract. So we don't actually add any kind of difficult like any custom code here. So you're pretty much using the audited template here for tokens, because token is very lightweight asset by itself. So here in this case, you can of course think of it as audited token. So if you talk about the pre-sale contract, this is not, of course, audited, because there's a custom workflow going on there. Pre-sale. There's a custom workflow going on here that needs to be audited. But for this, we, as I said, we have a simple way, so you can just test it out. After you test it out, you can go to audit. So you can see here as well, details. We set up the details, set up the asset information, build the workflow, then you can test it out, and then it's a place for auditing. It's of course, you decide if you want to audit it here. You can also take out the code and send it to auditors. But if you're deciding to use this platform, you can go further. And so right now we have one auditor available. And by clicking here, you can see what do they actually do. So this is how briefly the auditing interface looks like. And it gives you the opportunity to kind of order audits. And we aim to provide a very good price on audits because these auditors are pre-vetted. They have NDA with us, and and they already have seen the smart contracts from Toolbox, so they can provide a kind of a quicker quote. First of all, like immediately can order the audit, and secondly, it's a better price than you get elsewhere probably. So you can order, of course, extra things here like pen testing, unit testing, and then you can, of course, go to their Twitter page here, their website here, read about them. So this is a way to kind of audit custom contracts and get a good price on that as well. So second question was, how would you do a fundraising smart contract? It's a good question. I haven't thought about it actually. We can try AI. Let's see what it does. But I think what makes sense here in this circumstance is you describe it in more detail. Maybe you describe some existing fundraising contract, describe the features it has, and also who can do what. And keep it simple. Don't add bunch of like extra things. But remember, one workflow is for one asset. So you have to first decide. The first thing you have to do is decide what is the asset here. Like if I'm fundraising, maybe the deposit from users is the asset, or maybe the project is the asset. It's like let's say I want to have a smart contract with many projects that can be that can actually accrue deposits. So you have to understand or describe to AI as well what is the asset you have here. What is the object that you want to manage? So and this gives you also clarity of the flow. You start to actually move into things like real things, like what is the object, what are the actions actually, and who are all the stakeholders? Like, am I there? Is the user there? Are some other parties there that are kind of overseeing, agreeing in this, throughout the steps, or adding value throughout the steps? So keep these things in mind. So I will repeat. So the asset, what is the life cycle of the asset, and who is doing what? And this is the three things. And if you describe them, even you can, as I said, you can take existing fundraising contracts and try to kind of explain them. I think you will get a good result in that sense. I think this is what I'm trying to say here, is that if you do it this way, you get a better result. You can also do this way, new smart contract, and say fundraising smart contract. And here now you will get surprising results, because and you probably, it will be like using AI in any other tool. You say something like like an image of a lemon on a tree, and you will get weird result, or like you don't know what you will get back. So it's a little bit wild card, but sometimes it's actually good, because it gives it starts the imagination ongoing, right? So okay, so we have a campaign workflow. So the campaign is so in this case it decided. So it needs to decide, because we haven't told it anything. It needs to decide. Okay, it made the campaign as the asset. So here I have many campaigns. So in your case, maybe you just have one campaign, and actually the asset is the deposits of the user. Maybe it makes more sense. Right now I have many campaigns here. I can start the campaign. I can give it a name, a description, some image, and actually the goal as well. So if I click here, we can see that the goal is okay, so it's a monetary target, which is the workflow default token, which is, by default, it's the native token. So we have the goal, This is only accessible by the campaign owner. So the campaign owner can start campaigns. What is the campaign owner? Let's see. Campaign owner is just an address, right? So it's not even a whitelisted address. This means that actually anybody can come here and click start campaign in this case. Now we have donations. So donations don't have any access restrictions. Basically, it means that anybody can actually donate here. Anybody can come and then donate uh, an amount, they say. And here what we see is the calculation taking place, which is that the raised amount plus the new amount is being added up to the new raised amount. And of course, the caller, which is like an anonymous person, really, is now deposit into the workflow that amount. It's very straightforward. And now we have this end campaign. So this can be called by the campaign owner, but only when we have reached our kind of end goal, right? And then, and if that's true, what will happen is that all of that money will be directed to the campaign owner. It's a very simple on-chain workflow for starting campaigns, donating to campaigns, and then also cashing out the money as a campaign owner. So campaign owner, by the way, has to be the same person that started the campaign, because it's using this is, you can read about it in the documentation. You can also read about it up here on the right here. This kind of like, if you're not sure what's going on, always follow these these question marks to see or read more about this access restrictions in this case. And the second part is that you can, on the right here, always read what will happen. This is AI generated, human readable version of what you have created here, basically. So just briefly, I will say that the restrict or set means that if nobody is yet the campaign owner, and of course it isn't because it's a new campaign, then the one who is calling will be the new campaign owner of this campaign owner. So when it comes to ending the campaign, now actually it will say restrict or set. So it's already set because we set it at the start, which now means that only this campaign owner can actually end the campaign. So this is it's a special kind of special mode of access restriction, basically. Right. So I mean, just reach out to us in the email if you have further questions or want to ask something. I mean, always happy to help. Always happy to actually go through your workflow and kind of help out. And because we're all always, eager to hear feedback as well, like how are you doing, what is confusing, and so on. I mean, it's a new way to think about things, and it's of course, I mean, first of all, it's not code; it's something else, right? Hopefully, this something else is easier. I mean, it is easier in the sense that it's much kind of faster to go from idea to launching something, but of course, it still has a kind of learning curve. So if you see you are up for the task, and you can always call us, then this tool definitely can actually create applications. It can tokenize assets much faster. So that's it, I guess, for the AMA, if there's no questions, honestly. Let me see. Alrighty. Okay, that's it. Cheers, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.